The Basket Beast, Piku, is getting the first ever moveset in this long overdue series that I like to call Scribbled Smash. This is the show where I make concepts for fan-made Smash movesets for certain characters. This video will be covering Piku from Piku, obviously. So without further ado, let's go. Also, if you haven't played Piku already, play it. It's a good game. Well, let's get into the moveset. For its stats, Piku will be a fairly lightweight character with 2 decently floaty jumps, fairly speedy mobility but not really too fast, and the ability to crawl and have a ton of recovery. Other than that, no additional movement options. I should also add for their dash, they'll go into their ball form. For Piku's jab, they'll do their signature kick. It would be a pretty decent attack with some good knockback, range, and damage to it, but its downsides being its start and end leg, which are pretty decent. For Piku's forward tilt, they would do the jab, but moving. It works the exact same way as the jab. For the down tilt, they will do the jab, but on the ground. Well, this is your only offensive move in Piku, so expect for there to be a lot of kicks. For the up tilt, they would kick upwards, psych! They would put on the pencil hat while going onto their tippy toes. See? I can be unique. For the dash attack, Piku would bounce out of their ball form, giving them some air. Not only would Piku become a moving hitbox during this time, but not really do a lot of damage or knockback, but you could also immediately follow up with an aerial for some combo setups. For Piku's forward smash, they would do the kick, but stronger. Yeah, I got nothing. Piku's up smash, however, is a little bit more creative. They would put on the water hat and charge up, and when you release the button, the water hat would extend, dealing huge damage to whoever gets hit by it, and then retract back into the hat itself. Overall, this attack would be devastating if you could land it, with the only downsides being the terrible amount of start and end leg. Piku's down smash would have 2 toasters appear on either side of them. The toasters would then shoot toasts that boomerang back into the toaster. For Piku's neutral air, they would strike a pose midair. This would be a pretty quick aerial which has the same properties as Mario's neutral air, having Piku keep the pose for a little bit before going back to falling to their demise. The forward air would have Piku kick forwards. Nothing special, just the kick. The back air, however, is a little bit more unique. It would have Piku go into their car, spin midair while inside of the car, and then get out of the car. As you can guess, this would be a great move in both damage and knockback, and its downsides are its really bad end leg and start leg, so don't get run over! Anyways, Piku's up air would have them do a flurry of kicks upwards, dealing multi-hitting damage until the launching final hit. The down air would have the golden tube from the silver frog appear below Piku, to which they would kick it downwards, sending it plummeting to the ground. It works similar to Steve's anvil but with less knockback and damage, but in exchange it's a lot more fast. And it's not tied to a resource. Piku would have a fairly unusual grab. They would start the grab by raising their leg up and then stomping onto the ground. If any opponent is squashed, they would be buried into the ground. And for the pummel, it would have Piku kick the opponent's head while they are buried, adding insult to injury there. Well, more injury to injury, but whatever. The forward throw would have the opponent be stuffed into a popcorn launcher, and then the launcher would launch the opponent into a forwards arc. Well, Piku just looks kinda confused because he has no idea how the heck it got there. Back throw would have a straw appear on top of the opponent and then launch them backwards. For the up throw, a worm would attach to an opponent. Then the worm would begin to ascend, with the opponent still attached to them. You could mash out of it, but this would leave Piku a wide opening to combo you into shreds. Anyways, the down throw would have Piku put on the water hat, then water the opponent. This would do minimal damage and also have the opponent get out of the bury. So why would you do this? Well, it would give the opponents the flower effect for around like 5-ish seconds. It's now time for the specials, the juiciest part of any moveset. For the neutral special, Piku would use the Pinecone Bomb. They would kick it at a forward's arc, and if it hits anything, let that be the stage, a platform, or some poor sap, it would explode, doing some pretty flinching damage. But if you hold the button down, Piku would kick a watermelon. It would move across the floor and it is affected by gravity. After the initial kick, it would behave like a heavier, less powerful soccer ball 4 hits, then it would explode. It would disappear for 10 seconds. If it hasn't been hit, then it would have a 5-second cooldown. For Piku's side special, they would put on the Beast Mask. After a brief charge up, Piku would bark, making a shockwave appear around them. The shockwave would stun opponents in its radius for around half a second. For Piku's up special, a spring on a box would appear below them. Then it would launch Piku upwards. This can be angled to any direction you want, but it would send Piku to freefall, so don't launch yourself off the ledge, please. Or do. I really don't care what you do. Well, it's time for the down special. Buckle up, since this is gonna be a long one. For Piku's down special, they would place down a frog. They wouldn't move, and once they take 30% of damage, they are dead. And you would have to wait 10 seconds before placing down another one, if it's KO'd that way. So why would you place one down? Well, if you press down B again while the frog is out, Piku would lose their color, becoming completely invulnerable, fly in a straight line towards the frog, and then regain their color, in exchange for about, like, 20% recoil. Okay, that wasn't that bad. Wait, I still need to balance this. Piku would have a circle divide into fifths on their UI. This corresponds to the amount of time you have left until the frog is gone. Around, like, 30-ish seconds. I should also add that once that time runs out, that's all for that stop. You can't place down the frog again unless you're KO'd. For Piku's final smash, well, you'll see how it plays out. After the initial slow-mo, the knockback proceeds, to which there's a lot of knockback. For Piku's up taunt, they would spin their head around while stars shoot out from their head. For the side taunt, Piku would crouch and then resume standing. Yes, I made a teabag a taunt. Sue me. And finally, for the down taunt, Piku would crouch down, look all angry, and have black clouds appear around them, and then finally stand back up. For the first victory, the screen would turn black, then Piku and Niku would jump up, and then high-foot each other. After that, Piku would just kinda stand there. Next animation would have Piku walk up to the present, and it would explode, revealing a trophy of whoever was second place during that match. The third and final victory animation would have Piku and the Resistance celebrate their victory together. The first alt would have Piku in their usual red colors. The next alt would have Piku don yellow colors, being a reference to Niku, the thing player 2 plays as in the co-op mode. The next would have Piku with a green color and a lighter green color in the center. This would be a reference to the forest people and in turn the Resistance. The next alt I was honestly kinda stuck on. I thought it would be an alt based on the Toast people, but then I remembered the character called Sam the Slime. I really didn't think that much of them, but except that's before I realized that they had an entire cult following around them. I think that puts a couple of points in their favor. I don't know. So yeah, those two alts are honestly interchangeable. Anyways, the fifth alt would have Piku be gray with a lighter gray rectangle on top of them. This would reference the Sunshine Ink robots, the characters that you have to fight during the majority of the game. The next alt would have Piku be pink with a top hat on. This would be a reference to the main antagonist of Piku Niku and capitalism incarnate, Mr. Sunshine. The seventh vault would have Piku be fully black with white eyes. This would be a reference to the worms. I would have made an Ernie alt, but it would have been too similar to Alt 3. Sorry, Ernie. Probably shouldn't have drinking all of that toxic waste, but I've done stupider. The final alt would have Piku be pure white. This would be a reference to the ghost you see at the very start of the game. Now, you might be wondering, if they're one of the first characters that you see at the start of the game, then why are they the last alt? Well, if you played the game, which you should, then you would know why I put them last. Anyways, now I think we're done here. We gotta keep it PG here. This is the 5th time this week. Anyways. Well, I can't make a stage because time restraints. And it also applies to spirits, so I guess I'll show off the classic mode and put the spirits and stage in a later video. As for the classic mode would be called Wait, I'm one of these. The first fight would be against Pikachu and Piku. The second fight would be against Fox and Falco. Then against Diddy and Donkey Kong. The fourth would be against Bowser and Bowser Jr. And the fifth fight would be against Incineroar, Ganondorf, and Ridley. You would have Miku as your ally. And the final fight would be against Rathalos. Then a bonus game. Then the boss would be against Gallia. And that settles it for Piku's Scribbled Smash. If you would allow me to go on a bit of a tangent here, Piku is one of, if not my favorite game of all time. Honestly, I wish there was just more of the game, its charm, its gameplay, its characters. Some of the most fun I've had in a while, if not the most fun I've had while playing a game. So, if you haven't played Piku already, play it now! Anyways, if you have a character that you would like me to cover, then just go over and put it into the comments below, and I might take a crack at it. Or not, depends on my mood.